Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are really ripping up the floorboards on Solana.
Yeah, digging deep.
We've got a fascinating set of sources here. They don't just talk about tech upgrades, they actually describe what looks like, well, a zero-sum battle for economic control.
Mm,
We're diving into three key things defining where Solana's headed. First, application-controlled execution. People are calling it ACE.
right.
Then there's the existing validator network, which is, powerful.
The backbone.
And finally, this huge new factor, institutional players, these digital asset treasury companies, or DATs.
And this deep dive is super important because, look, the stakes are just enormous. What these sources outline is Solana's pretty detailed roadmap to become potentially a global internet capital markets platform.
Right, not just faster crypto transactions, this is bigger.
Exactly. It's signaling readiness for like global finance level adoption. So our goal here is to really unpack how these three pieces, ACE, validators, DEETs, interact. Because, and this is key, the validator network, it's facing a systematic removal of its most profitable income stream.
MEV, basically.
Yeah, MEV and ordering control. And this shift is being demanded by the very institutional money, the DATs, that are now flooding into Solana. It's a fascinating dynamic.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. So let's just quickly frame where things stand right now. Solana's foundation, it's this validator network, right? Over 1,000 nodes.
Secured by proof of stake, proof of history, that hybrid model.
And it's fast, like 50,000 transactions per second, fast. And this is the driver for all this change, it has these, let's say, structural weaknesses.
Two core ones, yeah. The first is concentration. The sources, they show that as of April 2025, the top 100 validators controlled something like over half the staked SOL.
Wow, okay, that's concentrated.
Yeah. And the second weakness, it's the economic leakage. The value being extracted through maximal extractable value, or MEV.
Okay, before we jump into ACE solving this, maybe just a super quick refresher. For anyone maybe newer to this, what is MEV? Why is it seen as unfair?
Sure. So MEV, maximal extractable value, think of it like this. It's the profit that validators or block producers can make by strategically playing with transaction order. They can assert their own, they can reorder yours, maybe even block a competitor's transaction.
Like getting preferential treatment because you control the queue?
Exactly. It's like a toll booth operator seeing a line of cars and deciding, hey, I can charge this person extra to jump the line, or maybe delaying someone else on purpose. It's profitable, sure, for the validator.
But bad for the market users.
Right. It hurts fairness. It can reduce liquidity, especially for DeFi traders and applications. It adds invisible costs.
Got it. So that concentration issue, plus validators pulling profit out via MEV, that's the specific target ACE is aiming for.
Precisely. ACE is designed to essentially eliminate that validator-controlled MEV opportunity.
Okay, let's unpack ACE then, the big tech pivot. What is it really?
It's the core piece that makes this whole internet capital markets thing plausible, according to the sources. It was unveiled July 2025. And what it does is it gives the smart contracts themselves the applications like millisecond-level control over how transactions get ordered within their own operations.
Whoa. Okay, so instead of the validator deciding the sequence,
The application defines the rules.
that completely flips the script. Right now, the validator's kind of the king of the block.
Pretty much. But under ACE, the application dictates the flow for its users.
What does that enable, practically?
Well, if the app controls ordering, it can build custom market microstructures. Think rules like adding a tiny delay, a speed bump, to stop front-running bots.
Okay.
Or maybe ensuring cancellation requests always get priority over new orders, or even running tiny super fast auctions right inside the smart contract.
So it directly attacks that MEV angle.
Exactly. Basically closes the door on validators exploiting MEV within that application's context. The goal is more fairness, better liquidity, especially for DeFi.
And this isn't just theory. You mentioned a roadmap. The sources lay out actual steps, right?
Oh yeah, it's quite detailed and, frankly, aggressive. Short term, so 2025, the plan involves integrating with existing systems, specifically Jito's block assembly marketplace, BAM.
Bam! Okay.
Yeah, BAM basically lets applications plug in their own sequencing rules now. It's like the first step in handing over that ordering power without needing a massive immediate protocol overhaul.
Sort of easing into it. And then the deeper tech, the stuff needed for, like, Wall Street speeds.
That comes next.
Yeah.
Medium term, so early 2026, they're talking about introducing alpenglow consensus and asynchronous program execution, or APE.
AP.
Yeah, think of APE like optimizing an assembly line. Instead of waiting for step 1 to finish completely before starting step 2, APE lets programs run things kind of out of order or in parallel when dependencies allow. It should drastically cut down transaction finalization time.
Okay, faster finality.
Right. That plus AlphaGlow is aimed at getting latency way down, maybe even towards 100 milliseconds.
So moving from the current system fast, but leaky with MEV, to something hyper-efficient and app-defined.
That's the vision. And the long game, 2027 plus, is about locking this in at the protocol level, using big upgrades like multiple concurrent leaders, MCL.
MCL, more leaders processing blocks at the same time.
Exactly. Right now, it's mostly 1 leader per slot. MCL means having several leaders working in parallel. That concurrency, that's absolutely fundamental if you want the kind of scale needed for global financial markets.
Okay, so ACE is the tech solution, designed for fairness and efficiency. But like you said, that MEV profit, that's money validators are making now, let's look at the current setup they're trying to, well, evolve, or maybe undermine, depending on your view.
Right.
What makes being a top validator so good right now? What are the key parts of that system?
Well, the current model really revolves around block production. Leaders get chosen based on how much SOL they have staked, they verify transactions, they order them in their assigned slot, and crucially, they pocket 50% of the priority fees paid for those transactions.
50%. Okay.
And because that ordering is discretionary, they can prioritize the high fee payers, and until ACE really takes hold, they can exploit MEV. Combine that discretionary power with the high concentration, remember, top 100 holding over half the stake.
Yeah.
They have a massive economic incentive to keep things just the way they are.
That's the core tension, isn't it? ACE is designed to shift control to apps, systematically cutting out that validator profit from ordering and MEV. If they lose that income, why would these powerful validators vote for these changes?
That is the million-dollar or maybe billion-dollar question here. The argument is that ACE is complementary in some ways, but yeah, it fundamentally shifts the power balance.
How stark are the differences? The sources compare them, right?
They do. Look at transaction ordering. Current model. It's validator discretion based on fees, time, and MEV opportunities. Right for exploitation.
And ACE.
It's app-defined rules, millisecond granularity, specifically designed to mitigate MEV through custom sequencing logic built into the app.
So it's not just a technical tweak, it's shifting economic authority.
Exactly. Current authority. Centralized in that single leader, each slot. ACE pushes authority towards the dApps. And long-term, the plan is for the protocol itself, through things like MCL and AlphaGlow, to enforce this fairness.
What happens to the validator's role, though?
It changes from being a sort of discretionary market gatekeeper to being more like a highly reliable, high-throughput infrastructure provider. ACE integrates tools like BAM, which actually helps validator resilience and throughput overall, so there's an operational plus.
Ah, okay, so there's a trade-off being offered.
Kind of. More stable, higher volume, more resilient infrastructure in exchange for giving up that lucrative MEV and ordering control. Whether that trade-off is appealing enough to the incumbents, well, that's the drama.
Okay, now let's bring in the third pillar. This is where it gets really interesting, the market pressure. D8 companies, this institutional money. What exactly are they and why are they speeding all this up?
Right, the DATs. Digital asset treasury companies. Think. Publicly traded companies taking a page out of MicroStrategy's book. They're converting huge chunks of their corporate treasuries into digital assets, specifically here into SOL.
And not just holding it.
No, they're actively using it, staking it for yield, maybe 6-8% APY, the sources mentioned, or even deploying it directly into DeFi protocols to generate returns. This is serious institutional muscle arriving on chain.
And the scale is significant. I saw a number, $133 billion.
Yeah, the sources confirmed that as of September 2025, DATs collectively held over $133 billion in various crypto assets. That sheer size changes the game. Institutional money like that demands efficiency, predictability, and regulatory safety.
And Solana seems to be a focus.
It does. Solana-focused firms are apparently leading this trend. The sources names of Forward Industries, holding 6.8 million SOL. It's like $1.65 billion. DeFi Development Core, over 2 million SOL. Sol Strategies launching a $1.25 billion initiative. We're talking about, I think the sources said, 6 different firms now holding over 1 million SOL each. That adds up to nearly 3% of the entire circulating supply just locked up in these corporate treasuries.
Okay, so this flood of capital is creating the demand, the urgency for ACE to roll out. They need an optimized, fair market because they're playing with billions.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Their arrival is a double-edged sword, though. Massive upsides, but also definite risks.
Let's break that down. Positives first.
Okay, positive impacts. First, the staking boost potential. Right now, apparently only about 7% of the SOL held by these DATs is actually being staked.
Only 7%. That's low.
It is, which means there's this huge untapped potential to dramatically increase network security just by them staking more. Plus, you need that high stake density for future upgrades like MCL to work effectively.
More stake, more security enables scaling. Okay, what else?
The DeFi injection, it's happening now. The sources suggest $3 to $4 billion, maybe more, is flowing from DATs into Solana DeFi protocols.
Yeah.
That kind of money demands the low latency, and the anti-MEV features ACE promises. You can't have billions flying around getting front-run or manipulated. It just breaks the institutional use case.
Makes sense. They need fair execution.
And third, by holding and staking all this SOL, DATs are creating a kind of supply shock, reducing the amount actively trading, which could potentially stabilize the price and maybe even pave the way for things like tokenized equity down the line.
All right, those are significant upsides. But you mentioned risks, the challenges.
Yeah, the challenges are real, and they tie back to what we discussed earlier. First, concentration risk again. If these huge DATs all decide to stake their millions of SOL with just a few big preferred validators.
They could make the current concentration problem even worse.
Exactly. You solve one centralizing force maybe, but risk amplifying another. Second, regulatory hurdles. Big public companies playing in DeFi. That brings the regulators sniffing around. SEC scrutiny, uncertainty. That could definitely slow down adoption and potentially delay hitting those ACE roadmap targets for 2026, 2027.
Always a factor with institutional adoption.
Always. And finally, power dynamics. This loops back to the validators. The incumbents, the ones profiting from the current MEV-rich system, might actively resist this push for fairness, even if it's demanded by the big money DATs, because it directly impacts their bottom line.
So it's a complex transition with competing interests.
Very much so.
Okay, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. Let's recap the core elements. We've got ACE, this technological revolution aiming for efficiency, fairness, getting rid of MEV.
The engine upgrade.
Then the validators, the existing foundation. High performance, but concentrated and currently benefiting from the system. ACE wants to change.
The incumbents, yeah.
And finally, the DATs, this massive wave of institutional capital demanding the changes ACE offers while also bringing their own set of opportunities and risks, like concentration.
Right. And if you connect all that to the bigger picture, this whole integration, this roadmap, it signals Solana is seriously gunning for that on-chain NASDAQ kind of vision by 2027, as the sources put it.
A platform for real-world financial assets?
Potentially. But success hinges entirely on navigating this zero-sum game aspect. They have to somehow satisfy the institutional demand for speed and fairness via ACE.
While managing the inevitable resistance from the powerful validators who lose out.
Exactly. And while doing all that, they must maintain decentralization or at least manage the new concentration risks from the DATs. It's a balancing act. So keeping a close eye on how DATs deploy their capital, who they stake with, and whether Solana hits those ACE milestones, that's crucial for anyone involved in this ecosystem.